nameless ones from divine blood and whispered unknowns. We craft destiny. Let curiosity be your guide through the labyrinth of worlds. For in the shadows between realms, true power lies.
Session 49 of The Nameless, Shadows of Transformation. As we pick up Session 49, we are at the very moment Mordrum was consumed by the pool of blood. His group of companions, the Nameless, stood speechless. Their first instincts were to try to make sense of it. Lunaria arrived at this moment and scanned the room, noting Mordrum's absence. In doing so, she saw the cauldron spewing red, mist-like gas, enveloping the room in a crimson shroud. Jafar could tell the room was moving away, and they were no longer in Tepin's wizard tower. No, they were somewhere entirely else. The mist dissipated, and the Nameless took in their surroundings. Walls of dark obsidian rock in a dimly lit space with a large pool of bubbling, concentrated blood, and an imposing throne-like protrusion from the stone wall with a grand chair encompassing a silhouette. Echoed ominously from a disconnected source, then focused on the figure in the chair above the pool of red. Smore and Donnie investigated while Tepin and Jafar tried to make sense of the space. As Smore touched the pool of blood, a sack of flesh dropped from above, crashing into the pool and sending ripples and splashes throughout the immediate vicinity, hitting Donnie and Smore. Suddenly, a figure emerged from the pool, a pale-skinned, white-haired, strange male with a great longsword on his back, adorned with a tattoo on his chest. A large, fleshy cape filled the entire other half of the room, hanging like drapes from the walls. Another laugh echoed from the throne above. The figure, revealed to be a manifestation of Ulthar the One in Between, began speaking, presenting one of his proudest creations, Venmir Rimnev, the harbinger of creation and curiosity. Ulthar gave Venmir his quests and expressed his wish for him to stay with the Nameless, stating they had a part to play in mortal quarrels, even though he usually did not engage in them. He also explained his remorse for his half-brother. The group discerned he wouldn't care much if Imna were annihilated, but it wasn't entirely certain as it was still family. Jafar expressed his annoyance over Ulthar's passive stance on matters regarding his brother, questioning his character. This resulted in Ulthar lashing out with a display of power, unleashing telekinetics supplemented with life-draining blood magic, injuring Jafar, and ultimately leading him to leave dramatically. Sometime later, the group found themselves back in the tower again. Life went on as they still had pressing matters at hand. Jafar was convinced to connect with the forces of Nejul, the Half-Moon Enforcers, and asked them to relocate their forces to the Nameless City. Through Tepin's spell, Jafar's words reached Lucius Fell, the previous tailor of the city's forces and overseers, now effectively captain of the army, after General Coronius's brother stepped down when the monarchy fell. Lucius assured the Nameless that they would gather their forces upon elephants and leave for the Nameless City. As evening arrived, Smore and Donnie were out in the local dunes of the city, contemplating and waiting for something to happen regarding the question Smore asked the cauldron earlier. What truly is the nature of Donnie? Then, like the calm before a storm, magic stopped working in the hands of adept casters. Tepin and Jafar noticed their light and connection to the spiritual retract. Lunaria's cantrips became useless, and Velikor's arms snuffed out like candlelight. In a scene of monumental scale, a dark form cast a shadow upon Honides, large enough to almost fully encapsulate the moons of the evening sky. It was a sight of unfathomable nature, threads of dark slivers tangling and tailing around its form, eyes like stars blinking in eerie synchronization. The ambiguity and sense of dread filled the beholders of this creature. And again, that laugh was heard. S'more and Donnie began levitating. Beams of light appeared from Donnie's eyes and mouth, creating a dramatic and emotional moment as S'more felt like Donnie was going to disappear. Several moments passed, and just as quickly as it had appeared, it was gone. Everything returned to normal. Only the sense of dread remained among the party. Donnie fell from his levitation, and in the nick of time, S'more bamfed out his wings to catch his fall. Donnie revealed he was an anomalite, an incredibly rare event or creation, and if it hadn't been for S'more, he wouldn't have been here. The night grew darker, and the Nameless, though affected by the night's events, went to rest for the next day. Tepin awoke to a light flickering in his face as Oma, his half-orc companion, fiddled with the shade of the bedroom window. Tepin and Oma had a long-awaited talk, revealing underlying issues Oma had been experiencing and a rumor of the assassination of the Merlin, aka Tepin. Jafar spent his first hours of the day pacing around his room, trying to cook up a worthwhile plan. Lunaria started her morning more confused about her clan's issue than ever. She abruptly asked for answers in frustration, and the all-too-familiar laugh was heard as she felt something had changed in her room. It was as if every item she owned, her hand mirror, her relics, her treasures, even the ring from Ombraflux, felt off, as if someone had swapped them with exact copies. She thought no more of it and attempted to leave her room, but was stopped by a strong wall of force. Ultar's voice echoed, saying this test would provide the answers she sought. She had 3 hours to reveal the clues around her room and escape. Despite being so close, she ultimately failed the trial. S'more and Donnie, who hadn't slept due to their lack of need for it, spent the night discussing the new knowledge filling Donnie's dome. They sought out the rest of the party. Venmir, the newest member, wandered the tower at the start of the morning, getting his bearings and looking for people. He met the mythical Emerald of the East, Jill Wex. They introduced themselves and talked about her story, with Venmir particularly interested in her guard and their implications in her rule. After some time, the rest of the Nameless joined the lounge. The princess wished everyone a great day and left. Jafar posed the question, "What now?" There were several things each member wanted to accomplish before dealing with the dark storm from the east. They laid out the possibilities and chose to head west into the Whispering Flatlands, hoping to find a greater undead entity to aid them. They concluded that the mysterious pyramids of Keeler Mid must harbor ancient remains of stronger quality. The day was spent preparing for the desert journey. However, Jafar left the meeting prematurely due to a severe headache. He stumbled through the hallways, seeing ghosts of his past. In his room, he collapsed onto his bed and fell into a deep slumber. He awoke in a living memory of his childhood in Nejul. Lucid, he contemplated the meaning behind his experience. He returned to his old mini-cooperation of friends who expected his arrival. As he ushered them through a day of recon and pillage, he noticed half the room receding in a brilliant yet pale green-blue color, almost see-through and ethereal. Text appeared as if written on thin air, revealing his name and the presence of Lysara, the Veil Weaver, the entity that guards and guides the seas of oblivion. She left him with the words, "Seek the heart of chaos, where order hides. Embrace the rift, where duality resides," before he plummeted back into his body and awoke in his room. With a refreshed mind, Jafar talked with the princess he had long protected from afar, urging her to reclaim her rightful place as queen. The Nameless journeyed to the perilous wastes of Keeler Mid, where they were curiously attacked by rogue goblin servants at the city's edge. Though the city's guards quickly dealt with them, it hinted at the brewing uncertainty of Tepin's rule in some eyes. Toward the end of Session 49, the Nameless lay down for the night in the midst of the whispering flatlands. During his watch, Smore spied a group of people braving the harsh and cold weather, calling for help. Smore approached them, but driven by bloodthirst, deceived the unfortunate souls and attacked. However, they morphed and revealed their true nature as horrifying doppelgangers. A fierce battle ensued, and the Nameless triumphed, ending the session with a sense of tension and anticipation for what lay ahead.